Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to game number 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters Oakland Qualifier Finals here for PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. I'm Lee Man Smith, and bringing you this action alongside me is going to be none other than Matchhim. Matchhim, you are the man of the community. How do you make of that first game? AVG, the Russians, coming out on top.
Quite surprising, to be honest. They did very well. They just killed so many people at the end of that. Such a solid performance from them, really securing their first spot. Now, Champs is also a team that kind of snuck in. They were the ones that actually got the win in the round, but only secured 1 kill. Now, we've got Against All Authority that's holding up the 3rd spot, and Team Crimson actually in 4th. Remember, it is the top 4 teams that qualify. I know we've been dealing with 5s through this whole thing. You know, 5 going to the next round, 5 going to the next round. It's only 4 this time around. Now, G2 has been absolutely exploding during the earlier stages, but right now, they're actually holding down 6th. But that was just the first round. We still have 4 more to go, so it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out on the long term. I really love the fact that we're getting a best of 5, so we get all the action, make sure that we're getting the absolute best top 4 teams.
Yeah, none of this circle look that some have maybe suggested online, but I wonder if we're going to see Velen actually play with his team for once. It's the style. It's funny because it's the style that a lot of the top teams use. They tend to have a lot of solo players.
Well, it comes down to the fact that a lot of times it's hard to get enough loot really quickly. Specifically, if you have a long drop, that's where you're going to want to separate out. Naturally, if you're dropping maybe about, I don't know, a kilometer away from where the plane comes, then it's easy. Just nosedive down. Everybody can kind of separate to a smaller degree and get some loot. But if you have to do a long drop where you're in the air for about 1 minute to 2 minutes, sometimes you just have to separate out so that way everybody can have a chance at loot. Speaking of separating out and drop patterns, here we go. We've got everybody teleported magically up to the airplane. Let's see what type of path we're looking at for this round. And it looks like it's going to be coming from the south, heading pretty much on a northern fashion, going over next to Georgia Pool. This is kind of similar to a couple of the other airplanes that we've seen this morning.
Yeah, this is similar to round 1, wasn't it? They're pretty sure they took almost the identical route, and then everybody spanned across, and then it ended up the circle over the far left. Let's see, obviously, where they all go. I can see Dominators heading off towards Sosnovka military base. Trying to catch a couple of the names as I go. I can see AAA are still in the plane. I'm watching Shadow's name being the top of the pile. I don't really mind. Okay, that's Havu. Havu heading off. Havu, top team. Didn't have a great finish in that one because they got massacred in the end on that beach front, along with, well, just about everyone else, really. I see No Loot Gaming. Looks like they're heading over towards Rozhok. And Shadow, I think, stayed in there fairly long. They've gone same path, but G2 are heading there as well. So South Georgipol, it looks like, is going to have AAA and G2 and Crimson.
Well, with the way that these squads are kind of separating out, you can see several are thinking to go towards the north, but there's already squads posted up on the north, so these guys that are kind of hanging out in the middle don't know where to go. You can see the parachutes kind of circling around, going, do we go back to crates? Do we go where? There's a lot of confusion coming into this, but it does look like going to be Crimson that's actually going to secure what's going to be in the duplex area of southern Georgia Pool, and that's going to force several other squads to go back down towards Hospital. Looks like that we're going to see Shadow and Monkey land over there. And yeah, right now what's going on in the Georgia Pool area are some of the top teams all stacked on top of each other. Now, they might be able to throw a couple of bullets back and forth, but I'm willing to bet that they're not going to commit to anything too hard here.
So that's AVG North, Crimson Crates and Southish area. I can see Velen's already getting shot at. So that's by Shadow and Monkey that are in there. Oh my god, and look at the circle. Oh my god. Okay, similar area, but very much more central to Georgipol now.
It's like we had a great round 1, and so the game is wanting to give us a great round 2. Now, look at how many squads adapted this time around. They didn't do that hard push all the way to the east on the map. Most of them were actually pretty close to already being inside of the circle, except for those guys down in the military base, but they knew that whenever they came down. And we actually do have a death that happened already right over there next to the beach along Sosnovka Island. So everybody's going to separate out, try to get what their loot that they can. But we talked about it several times today, D-Man, how squads love to center up on these circles. And look, Gatka's wide out in the open. You know, Everest Mountain right there is kind of the central point for the circle, but nobody's really around the southern region of it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams are still in vehicles trying to get to the likes of Yasnaya. Looks like No Loot Gaming is still heading over towards Prison and Shelter direction. Are they going to maybe divert their plans based on the circle? They've got Well, let me drop the circle. They've got a good 5 minutes. Oh, okay, it's down to 4 minutes still to go to loot, and then probably add another 2 on before the circle starts to reach them. So plenty of time to reach them, which is why Butts looks like he's going straight to Mansion. Looking down south is where Havu are. Havu are in and around the southern area of the quarry, just sort of sticking around there. They're just inside the circle, so they're basically hoovering up all the outskirts complexes. Nobody dropped into Pachinki.
We see that happen a lot, actually. Everybody assumes that something's going to happen in Pachinki. Well, speaking of something happening in Pachinki, something's happening right next to Pachinki. So we got a little bit of a skirmish that's happening right here. As you can see that Kaizen is actually getting a rest on. Sensei Bjarn is actually upstairs, so this is a very interesting little fight that's happening.
He's got the S12 though, hasn't he? I wouldn't want to challenge him on the stairs with an S12. I gotta be honest, that gun can rip you apart. He's not watching though. Caught napping there, and Kaizen in the end leads the charge, and he gets taken down by the pistol crew. You see a lot of the top players, they'll be almost sat there basically scanning left to right, left to right, left to right, just to keep their senses on, where he was sitting static, so your reaction times are just that little bit slower.
Yeah, and he also was kind of leaned back into a safer position instead of holding the corner. He was trying to listen in, but they just charged up. They felt like they had a good idea where he was. Pushed up as a two-man squad. You saw one look to the right, one look to the left, and he was just a half-second behind on that trigger pull. And it really, I mean, let's be honest, he was in a 1v4, so it probably wasn't going to turn out in his favor anyway. But he could have at least done some damage before going down. And there we go. We finally have Pachinki being claimed. But going back to one of your earlier comments, we can see this happen quite a bit. A lot of the places that you see that are really, really popular inside of matchmaking, once you move into the higher levels of competitive, they don't want to drop there. They don't want to take the risks on it. Nobody wants to be that first squad out and come out with like 1 or 2 points. Everybody wants that really high point total.
Yeah, and just about everybody's doing their own thing right now, right? I mean, there is 2 squads in North Georgipol. They're kind of separating themselves, and there is a heck of a lot of buildings up there to keep yourself spare. I'm wondering whether the guys in Severny, are they going to maybe go straight west and go into Zaki? It's possible. We did see a squad in Zaki last game, if you remember. Looking towards G2, they're very separated at the moment. Looks like Steve has found himself a buggy, so he's quite happy. So they've got themselves the first vehicle at least. Looking towards the guys, Clayton, which is Fantasy, and Weko in South Georgipol. They're very much... Everyone's kind of kept a clear distance from one another, haven't they? Shiv is pretty close to Tex of Crimson, actually. They're probably the closest I can see in Georgipol right now.
Yeah, and this is a lot more common than what we expect with happens in Georgipol. Everybody just kind of lands, they do their looting. Unless you're really, really contesting, everybody just kind of leaves each other to be. Because these fights can end up really awkward just due to the angles, and nobody really wants to make the risk on a hard push. Now, that being said, we can see that Shiv is looking like he's getting a little bit more creative on his pushes in here. I think he's aware that he has people around him, and he's definitely trying to keep an eye out for him, but he's going to do a run across. I don't know if Miraku's actually going to see him, but this is going to start making everybody kind of be a little bit more cautious as people are going to start getting spotted here or there. And I think that with the amount of early skirmishes, everybody just wants to get some type of tools to make it into the late game. Yeah,
Roxas is actually in crates as well, so he's made his way all the way over there. So AAA really have made a decent spread of this loot-wise. If they clean up on the crates and the hospital and a portion of Georgipol, they're going to be pretty well equipped. Bearing in mind they had 3rd place finish in the last matchup. The North Georgipol holds a Vanguard who got themselves 1st place in that last matchup as well. So big names, all close together, all within the circle. Let's have a look further afield as people start to make the rotation, start to look to see where exactly they can occupy. It's time to get to that phase, isn't it? The clock is running down. Yeah, the blue is starting to come in. Everybody's thinking, time to get central.
And so now it's all going to come down to the different pathing options. One thing I did want to point out is naturally Rajak is fairly, it's got people sitting in it right now. Nobody's going to really opt into that strategy of going through Rajak, but with the way that this like river runs right through the center of the circle, you can see that there are several different mini bridges that can be occupied and potentially could be held, all depending on how these different squads choose to move in. I think it's going to be about how these squads on the southeastern section of the island are going to have to push into this. Like they might push over towards where Inzolinzo is at right now, but really, we're just seeing a good section of the eastern side of the circle pretty wide out in the open, except for Pachinki. So plenty of places that still can be claimed. It's just a matter of, are these squads going to double think themselves and not go to them because they assume somebody's going to already be there?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Okay, UAZ spotted 4 Dominators, the old COD 4 guys that wreck Kinguin's plans. They've got themselves a UAZ, and that's a free bridge as well, so nobody looking to hold that bridge out. Havu still sitting in and around Quarry. Let's look towards Milta. There's a couple of squads. There's one in Novo, one in Milta, one in Farm, and I guess, are they separated? I'm trying to see whether they're the same team over there. Also, north of that, No Loot Gaming. Jansen in prison. Butts has been in Mansion. Crew has been dotted around. Outsider also in that squad, just on the edge of Rozhok, as you say. And looking at the guys that they won the last round, but they didn't get first place, unfortunately, on points because they only had the single kill. They're still sitting in Yasnaya.
So help me if Magni ends up being stuck outside the circle and having to run all the way back in again. I'm not even going to feel bad for you anymore, Magni. It'll be your own fault at that point. Circle is starting to come in. You can see that. I'm just going to pop over here at Yasnaya. I'm curious to see if these guys have actually secured themselves a vehicle. Yeah, they do have a UAZ. Everybody's starting to mobilize over towards it, and I think that might be their only vehicle. Magni's still holding up the tail end of that, and they're all the rest of them look like they're moving over towards where the UAZ is at.
Okay, shots. Where is that? That is North Georgipol. And it is Keen and Co. that have just made the first bunch of kills. It's Miguel been picked off. Zix is on his own. He's dead. So they'd actually occupied this garage, which you often go and look at and basically try and secure the vehicle that's there. There is a UAZ outside, so they've already got themselves a vehicle set up. So a couple of kills for them already. That's 3 kills already for the team that is currently holding #1 place of Vanguard.
And it's just a solid position. It's all about holding these specific choke points that we can see. So like where we were talking about beforehand, these bridges become really big factors as squads are going to opt to go, no, it's probably not going to be in the north, let me push down to the south. So these couple of bridges just to the east of Georgipol could be contention points if we see anybody really posting up on them. We actually do have a little bit of a fight that's breaking out on the far western side of the coast, as it looks like Dave the Crazy was driving up with the rest of his team, and they were going to try to claim a building, but Wookie Bookie forces everybody back out of there.
Now, Wookie Bookie got himself that triple on No Loot Gaming, if you remember the last round. So it's Fon, Dave, and Zenta. Fon had a really good round and almost went huge in a 2v1 last night in the previous matchup. That was in the same group with AAA as well in G2. So solid players. Just about everyone, really, honestly. Like I say, you know, if they're in this stage, they've been in the top 5 a number of times and probably picked up a fair few chicken dinners en route to basically secure this position. Now, AAA are actually making the move out of Georgie, and they're going to this complex that's very much in the open, but it is good for basically securing kills. Anyone passes by, they have a wide open spread they have to get through.
We also do have all of our vehicles that are starting to make their push into here. Looks like about, I don't know, 15, 20 vehicles, probably more than that now. I can see.
Nice, look how deep he just drove that in. Look at Shadow. Shadow's just parked that right inside the house. A secure UAZ. And he's even reversing it in. Reverse parking. Are they going to try and get more in?
I love it whenever people actually do a good parking job with their vehicles. Make sure to protect them. Give themselves an easy out so that way they can load up and take off if they need to.
He's taking
One of
the
my
deck
favorite
shearing
things
as
is
well.
whenever people take a motorcycle and they bring it inside the front doors of like a one-story building or something like that. And you just straight jack out right out of it. But here we go. We've got Shadow actually bringing in the Dacia as well. So yeah, they've planned this out. They specifically knew how they wanted to park this.
French parking, guys. French parking right there. Have they got any more vehicles? So that's just Shiv and Shadow. Obviously, they were the two that held on for a long time. Their teammates Monkey and Aroxay is over at the crate still. Looks like they're still having a loot frenzy. Let's look around then. Rotations are going to begin because the circle is about to collapse in. I can see a couple shots down south, but there's the next circle. Second circle comes in, and it's not going to alter too much. It's pretty much gone central. So cuts out Zaki, cuts out the shooting range. Rozhok's forced to move in. Atlantis is just about in there along with the ruins. A lot of people are starting to clump around Gatka though.
Yeah, and you can see that a little bit of firefights are starting to happen now as everybody's just trying to claim what they can. And Crocs is actually getting taken down as he was aggressing back towards Wick. It's going to be an easy kill to finish that one off. Now everybody's starting to be a little bit more wary of Gatka, but you can see Q-Boy is actually taking some shots as well. I'm going to push back over towards the rest of his team. But I think it's all going to come down to who's going to opt into holding down the center areas here. And can they make sure to scare everybody away from them as Raptor G and his team now securing a building off to the side. You can see that King Kevin's, Velen, Clayton, the rest of their team, they're all grouping off a little bit to the northwestern corner here. And our guys from earlier, Blake is making his push, but he's going to be coming right into Gatka proper. Nope, he pulled away. He decided that was the way he wanted to go.
King Kevin's reminds me of like someone that's sitting there that just isn't very confident right now. He's sat in his little bunker with his UMP on auto, ready and waiting. Level 3 vest on him, but ready to just spray down anyone that opens his door. Actually, it's G2 that are going to push him. Oh, they're going for it as well. They know that he's there. Oh, dear. Oh, Kevin, bless him. So he was the last man of his squad. He gets wiped out. Clayton collects the kill there. G2, they've got their complex secure.
And they have control over a nice area. Right now, there's nobody actually posted up in the hospital. The only really risk comes from this building set is the fact that somebody on the hospital can actually shoot in on top of your flat tops that you're inside of. But nobody's over at the hospital because that's where they were just at. So they now know that they have a level of security that they can use these upper stories, make sure to get some nice sight lines, and they should be able to see over where Trifilia is at and Gustav and the rest of their team. We do have a boat that's way off in the distance as Smashbus is finally making his way inside the safe zone. And I think that we have our last little bit of people starting to do this.
AA getting pushed. Yeah, this is Avanga actually pushing over the bridge now. Are they going to go? Are they going to try and charge AA again? No, it looks like they're deciding they don't like their position. So they're going to head off. Where are they going then? Okay, so they're thinking we want to be more central on this. I'm seeing Mumino going past. Keen is heading towards G2. Ono has been knocked. That is Avanga that's just been knocked. Mumino also of them. Waco taking a lot of shots. Let's have a look around because there's more vehicles to come. Keen is about to pass on by. Oh, choosing to go closer to Everest than anything. And he's going to pass straight by Dynamo. Blasting through full speed. You're not going to hit him really. Or you're going to have to be very accurate to hit a bike at full speed like that. He's just launched in the air, but he's safe.
So I think that this has gotten everybody into circle now. Everybody's actually doing a good job on pacing.
Two members. They lost two members on that rotation. That's not going to be good for Avanga. And now AAA are about to do the same route.
And that's going to be a very dangerous path. Naturally, AAA were the ones that were holding that upper area. Could it be that Monkey is just going over and potentially getting some more crate loot? He's going back over into that direction. There's a little bit of a fight that's happening as Mumino is taking some damage as well as Keen. You can see the guys are set up on the observatory. It's going to be Enzelenzo and Bikini model, making sure to not really let them have too much control over that radio tower area. We've seen the people at the radio tower repeatedly get knocked down to 2 members. That's usually a very strong point, but it's just, you have to have the members to secure every single angle around it. Otherwise, you're just constantly under a barrage of bullets coming your way.
Yeah, Mumino is just peeking over this ridge, and Enzelenzo's landing shots after shot. He's low as he can. He's on his belly, but he's just still visible to Enzelenzo. And I don't think they're going to get away from this one. They're trying the best to get some cover. I think he may have just found some cover. Keen looks like he's going to pop some smoke to try and cover them off as well. Let's have a look around the map. How have the rotations gone? There's still a squad north. Georgia Paul, 2 squads actually up there that are kind of collecting with each other. Keen continuing to get shot. Enzelenzo will knock him at last.
And so we do get a knock onto that. That's going to put a lot of pressure over here next to the radio tower. Keen might just be thinking it's time to leave at this point, throwing out the smokes. The only problem with it is that the vehicle is over there inside of the smoke, so he's going to have to get up and push over to the motorcycle if he wants to try to make it out of here. See that the other vehicle is exploded off to the side, and I think that at this point he's just kind of stuck if he doesn't go for that motorcycle, unless he has a whole bunch of extra smokes. I don't think that he does.
Oh, crate coming right down on top of Gustavo, Kaint, Wookie Bookie, and Trifeli. They're just like, oh, I can't believe my luck. This is let's see what present's going to drop for them. Let's have a look around.
On the eastern corner, we have a fight that is breaking out. As you can see, Arwen is running right up next to Kaizen. He instantly gets taken down. That's going to force the rest of his team to reposition. Just drove a little bit too close and just ate a few too many bullets. And here we go. We're going to get more shots going over towards Jacques. No, Jacques and Foster should be able to make it through.
Yeah,
actually, I say that, but now Outsider and Crew are taking some shots over towards him.
Okay, that's the Noted Gaming guys. Let's have a look at anyone else making the rotations. We did see the French thinking about it. They didn't go for it in the end. I do see a couple of shots around Gakras. I'm going to zoom the amp in just a little bit. So, nobody's still on the mountain. It's a tricky problem right now because while you're on the mountain, it covers you from one side, it can't cover you from the other. And I think that's where Jockeys and Fausto may be heading now. There's still a squad in the ruins. There's a team just insane. The guys that actually won the last round. Oh, and look at that circle. Well, would you believe it? Okay, so the Russian team, Avanga, that made that move, made the rotation, lost 3 members, only Keen alive, would have been in the circle if they'd have just waited.
Oh, but one of the big factors in this is with Everest eating up so much of the circle, it's going to be really interesting to see how these squads choose to position around in here. Everest can be a very strong point if you have the scopes and the aim for it, but it can also be a downside when you're playing in a competitive match because everybody has such good.
Look at the ruins area. That's about to get very busy.
What is going on over here? We've got so many groups that are positioning out and around it. We're going to see that Fausto is going to be able to make landfall, but just to the south of them, you can see the Antifa is doing a strong push up as well as Pickgut.
Oh, No Loot Gaming are going to go straight in towards AAA. It's Butts outside, and they're about to blast on past. They can hear the shots rattling through. I think they're just going to try and plan on blasting through the river. I think you can make it a full pelt, can't you? Outsider's going to try it. Instead, has to dive down very low there. And Encelenso is down Keen. That is a Vanguard taken out. That is a Vanguard who are currently top, taken out of the game. And that's got to be, what, about 15th place finish at best.
And we're going to off to the side back near ruins. We have that fight that is starting to break out. We've already had one casualty come into play. You see that Ewan is trying to think about coming back out. Shox is trying to find somewhere to go. Crew's in a very far position, looking actually over more.
He rolled his car. He rolled his car. Okay, well, I mean, it's offering him cover at least, right? But he's also getting shot from the back. So just Insane and Magni, they're taking shots at the rest of No Loot Gaming. No Loot Gaming are in pretty tough territory right now. I think they're probably just going to try and tuck under the bridge.
It's all going to be about how
the
push is coming.
Look at the crates! Look at the crates!
Where we've got crates coming through at. Oh, wow, there's a huge fight that's breaking out over here. Straffelli is coming down through. This is one of those bad parts about crates. Whenever you come into it a little bit too late, you don't know exactly what's going on. You don't know where the angles are at. Grenades are flying out like crazy. We actually have 2 squads posted up on crates with 2 more squads, actually 3 with vision towards it.
And G2, they're in the warehouses at the moment of them crates area, so Vix, if they try and push to the safety of the warehouses, not that I would say that's very safe, that's probably not where you want to go. M249 for Gustavo, so that was the crate that dropped down. The M249 for him, is he lying prone and using it? It looks like he's reloading, so I think he has been.
Dynamic ESP is just driving up and just gets torn apart by Vix as he comes in. Wasn't expecting anybody to be in that crate position and just eats a whole bunch of bullets. This is going to be a really interesting place to come back to, depending on how we see these squads have to move. If we lean it back more towards Everest, it's going to require a lot of these crate squads to potentially have to move out. We still have 63 people alive, and this is a tiny circle if you think about how much space Everest is taking up.
Yeah, there's battle. So there's a battle at ruins right now. There's a battle at crates. I can see that Havu are slowly working their way in. Oh, Pickgut. Has he picked up an AWM? Has he? Yeah, he has. So nice. So he's got himself a decent rifle there. Vic's just getting another kill. That's at crates. There we go. There goes Bikini. Okay, Bikini going straight past and Silenzo, etc. They're getting lit up, but they are going to make it past. So they've made it up to Everest. So they've managed to get on the top of the hill. I think they're going to be happy up there for now. They're going to set up a decent area in that little alcove that's on the ridge side. And all their vehicles, I think they're about to be abandoned.
Yeah, with this push that they've decided to opt into, they have to push up the rest of this hill. Now, this is where the risk and pathing comes into play, because as you push up the hill, you have a couple of little cliffs that you can play along. You can see the Bikini models trying to do a push, trying to figure out which way to go. Because if you opt into the wrong side, people are going to be expecting somebody over here on Everest with this circle. So if you show yourself the wrong direction, you can just eat too many bullets, instantly get taken down, and it's really hard to res around Everest unless you make it all the way up to the top. Now, we also do have another squad that is vying for competition of the top area. You can see that Fawn is pushing up the side of it. They're not. I think that they seem to be pretty content with their directed location.
Well, I got to be honest. If I was in this game now, I would follow AAA wherever they went, because they found the perfect spot for the circle again. They are in the circle. The new ones come in. Once again, they are bang central with it. It also means G2 are in there. Crimson are going to have to move, so they're going to have to make the way up. Obviously, Havu, who just went onto the hill, they're going to have to continue their transgressions and keep moving. Looks like Core and Crimson are about to load up and go, so they're going to go on the trike. And is Law going to... Look, Law didn't go on the back of it. They're driving off and Law's not got on it. Oh no, they're taking shots. Oh, it's all gone horribly wrong for Crimson. They're just going to say, you know what, I'm running. Law, just on your own. It's G2, I think, that were taking the shots there.
And we've got to force them back, and specifically back near the mountain. As you can see, that Bikini Model and his team have secured the top of it. It's going to be a really risky push back. Also did want to point out that we have Seek last. that has been swimming for the past 2 circles, trying to figure out how they're going to swim up into this. They now have another circle coming up. You see, they're over next to the Georgia pool itself, coming on the northern side of crates. They've just been swimming and swimming and swimming. But Lore's still taking a couple of shots. You can see that he's diving, trying to roll, trying to run back up near Texas. I think that they're going to start making that way, but look at all of these bullets that are coming their direction. They're not even in circle. Neither one of these squads right now are in circle. The one that's getting shot and the one that's doing the shooting, and they have to push in 30 seconds before the circle starts to collapse in.
The Battle of the Mountain is about to begin as well. Zenton Fon up there alongside. I think Bikini Model has them clocked. I think he can see them. Also, don't forget Crimson, who did just push down lower. They're taking shots from Dominator. Dominator, the COD 4 guys, they're taking shots onto them. They're actually going to move up. Now, this is interesting, right? Dominator, they're ex-COD 4 guys. Fantasy, who is also on G2, used to be in the same team as these guys in Call of Duty 4, and they're about to get pushed up on each other.
Speaking of pushes, we have a lot of people trying to come in. As we can see, Magni and the rest of his team just doing a hard push into this Wizard Tower. A lot of bullets coming their way. Everybody is just opting into going to vehicles. They realize that they're having to move too late. But so many squads are still on foot outside of this circle. Being in vehicles is just going to make it really hard to drive around, as everybody can just unload on you as you go through. But I think it's just going to be about who can make it to the water at this point. You can see a lot of people are just driving, trying to make that dive into the river, praying that they can just avoid the bullets and make it into that area.
Yeah, you can see they're all heading towards it. Now remember, Crew and No Loot Gaming, they were there first. They were there first and looking towards the water now. They actually have a very good position because they're all tucked under the bridge, so it gives them very good cover. They don't need to be involved in any of these fights at the moment. So Justin and Co, they've managed to get it basically into that little wizard tower, little sniper, whatever you prefer to call it. Wick is about to blast past. Okay, Wick, are you going to survive the gauntlet run you're trying to do here? Nero is with him. Now they've actually got into the complex right next to AAA.
It's not the most preferable complex, but it's something inside the circle and inside the next circle on top of that. So 2 minutes before the next one collapses in. So they at least have themselves a home. They just have to make sure that they don't get pushed on. Now it's going to really come down to all of these squads that are playing this like southern side of the bank on this river.
Yeah, look at the mountain as well.
Everybody's taking a shot. Oh, actually, yeah, we have several different climbing fights happening. One on the riverside, and then we have one on the mountain itself.
So I'm going to pan up on the mountain. We can see Havu at the top. Basically everybody right now has to make a mad dash down the mountain and into open territory. There is no cover down there. If you don't have a vehicle right now, you're in a really tricky situation, and not one of these has one. Crimson were down below. Still they're looking with the shots, but they're going to have to get moving in 1 minute.
And that's the big part of this. With all of these guys all right on top of each other, they're going to stall each other out. They're going to start throwing some bullets back and forth, slowly having to get in this fight, get into another fight, see another skirmish that they have to get in part of, and they could potentially all wipe each other. So I really like this that we're seeing from Enzo. Don't really mind Bikini Model, the rest of them. They're all just going ahead and saying, nope, we got to start pushing down. Doesn't matter, let's run and gun it through. And look at this, Blade is still up and active. He has been a hero for his squad for so long now, managing to make it inside the circle, but he's going to have to tail right up back behind several squads.
Crimson in the car. They managed to blast through. Tex has gone down. They're trying to work their way in towards that coastline, but I think they're going to jump straight across and find themselves head-to-head with No Loot Gaming. Crimson's about to hit the ridgeline. As soon as they park up, they're going to come down here and find out that it is already occupied. It is a tricky, tricky move. Jansen's going to get a peek over the top. Should find Law. So they've managed to get themselves this tiny little alcove. And so far they're safe, but look down the river like you say. There's, what, 2 squads swimming at the moment? Maybe make that 3?
I think it's like 3, if you count them all together. So it's a very awkward little fight that we're going to end up having over here. But we pull back around, you can see that there is a crate, 2 crates, double crates, just dropping right in the middle of the circle.
Straight into AA. Straight into AAA, straight into AAA. There's a vehicle coming straight in, charging in there. Shadow's got down. Shazza gets around the side. Roxace manages to get himself 1 down, but they're trying to try and push in. Let me try and get down into the building as a Roxace tries to cook a nade up. Shift down there. So remember, there's a lot of vehicles in the ground area here. A lot of cover fire. It's Shift that's holding on. Monkey gets himself 1, and that is the squad wiped, I believe. No, Barassi still alive around the back. Shift gets down. Monkey gonna try and pushing him. Shadow drops down. He gets down as well. Oh my god, it's all going wrong for AAA. They've been holding this territory for so long. But suddenly they lose a man. And it was Wick and Nero that took the opportunity to poke out and get themselves a shot. Wick went down. Nero's still alive. Roxa's getting a peek around. Where did the last man go? Did he get taken down? I think he did. I think it was actually Wick and Nero, ironically, that saved and killed a man. So AAA lose a guy there. Now, let's have a look around more battles because there's so much going on right now.
Pulling back up, naturally, it's just an absolute mess along this riverside as everybody is just shooting back and forth anytime you see any visibility. So it's just people ducking back and forth between rocks all over the place. See, our crate squads are trying to figure out how they're going to push back out. They have a huge open plain area in front of them. There is absolutely nothing of cover inside of this next circle, except for this little bitty spot that we saw Lore and Crimson T-Bone drop into earlier. So that's I have to say, that was great awareness and map understanding to remember that location. You saw that they drove straight towards it. They weren't going for the water. Instead, they wanted to get into this little divot.
All right, question for you. What happened to G2?
They
got wrecked somewhere.
No, it's been like it's just been absolute mess off over on this northern side.
Oh, No Look Gaming losing players. Kozier, saw how aggressive he was in the previous matchup in the semi-finals. Obviously, they got themselves second place. Vic's off to the side there. Bikini Model trying to push on through. Bikini Model gets taken very low. He's the last man standing, I believe. Pushing up on True Felly. Bikini Model, he's going to go down. That is Havu out of the round. Looking towards Dominators. They've all been knocked on the edge. Everybody's trying to make their way to this river now, and it is just a bloodbath.
So this has been a very fight contested point right now as everybody's just trying to get any downs and any kills they can. With the only section of cover being here, it's just going to be everybody charging over to this little spot.
How is it Crimson have managed to stay alive up here for so long? And more importantly, they're clocking up kills. Everybody keeps coming in their way. AAA have just been wrecked. Monkey, the last man standing, he's in there. No Loot Gaming, who have been the little trolls under the bridge the entire time, have still got 3 people alive. Now, Smashbuzz, Kozier, and Blackmane, they have a great position right now on the ledge. They did get a couple of people knocked. Kozier just gets knocked by Janssen as he peeks around the side. Janssen's going to try and push in. Blackmane goes around the side. He gets him down. Smashbuzz gets dropped. And that is Dominators taken out by No Loot Gaming. They will be taken down. Crimson, meanwhile, still sitting in this little alcove watching. Looking over the side, you can see Arasama. There's 3 squads, Gustavo and Monkey, all just chilling by the water side. Taylor has absolutely no health. Milor's going to try and get himself a little first aid. He's managed to get ahead. And Crimson and Law. But now, let's have a look at the circle. Okay, it's going to be over here. And really the only people that are going to be able to get near it is going to be No Look Gaming.
Well, we actually do have Crimson is right next to it as well. You can see that Lore and T-Bone are in a decent position. They're going to have to step over. They still do have their Dacia next to them. It is smoking, but it's got enough cover that it could potentially, if they just wanted to back up for a half second, there's some risk in it. But the good part about this is, guess what? All the mermaids, they have to make landfall, so it's all going to be about how they push through. Taylor's actually doing a flank up right next to Lore, gets the down onto him, and instantly retreats off of that. That could be a really influential down, as now T-Bone's having to reposition himself.
He tries to push on T-Bone. Oh, T-Bone gets taken down by Taylor. Taylor gets the double on Crimson. Amazing. Spins around, gets another. Orosama, a Monkey, just off the edge there. Taylor's had no health the entire time. I don't even know how the hell he did that. Monkey's got to push towards him. The blue's coming in. Monkey's going to die to the blue. I don't think he's going to be able to survive this. The play zone should finish him off. Taylor has to get moving, and this is played right into No Loot Gaming's hands. Taylor gets the full heal down there with the first aid. Monkey goes down to the play zone. Gustavo and Milano, they've got themselves on the rocks, but they've got to keep moving. Taylor's going to try and use this coverage as much as he can. 3 butts around the side there. Taylor, the play zone's going to finish him off with good bullets. Don't. The bullets do. Gustavo takes down Milor, and they've not done themselves any favor. Janssen will go into the play zone, but it doesn't matter. Gustavo could not get out. He goes down to the play zone. A No Loot Gaming, who did move in here quite early, but they were in such a precarious position for so long. Because, remember, they came into the building complex. AAA battered them. They lost crew fairly early on, I believe, back there. And then they were getting shot from left, right, and center, but they managed to tuck themselves up under the bridge and basically stay there for so long, and they come out with the win.
I have to say, a big influencer inside the very end of that. We saw Crimson. They had the potential to maybe contest against No Loot Gaming, but Taylor made that landfall. He made that push with no life. Sure, he only ended up with 3 kills, but man, that was an influential 3 kills to pick up right there, and that just knocked it open. No Loot Gaming could essentially just push forward, get control over the circle. All the mermaids got caught fighting each other as they were pushing their way up. I'm just going to say really, really solid fights coming out there towards the end. And I have to give respect to Taylor. He had no life and secured those 3 kills. It was just absolutely beautiful.
Wow, fantastic stuff. We'll see how the points play out in just a moment. We're just waiting for the score update. Kills-wise, obviously, it's 9 kills for the Team that finished top, that was No Loot Gaming. What's that? 6 kills, 7 kills for second place. Third place with, what, 6? This is the danger doing on-air math as well. 7 kills for third place. Now, AAA, so bearing in mind they got second place, third place finish, sorry, in the first game. They got a fourth place finish this time. They've been very good with their placement, actually. Circle placement. They've been very, I say lucky, but every time they've picked a building, the complex, it's basically sat with them for about 3 circles. It was only near the end they had to move towards the coastline.
Yeah, and I mean, Against All Authority have been doing a good job on surviving. They've been staying up near the top in every single one of these rounds so far. Sometimes you don't always have to win. If you just can get constant repeat performance inside of that top 5, that can actually secure you the #1 spot when everything is said and done. It's all about repeat performance. I know everybody loves to be like, oh, PUBG RNG, but skill can usurp it over a long enough period of time. We see it happen inside the leaderboards. We see it happen with the quality teams. They can constantly perform whenever the stress comes up and figure out how to turn those unadvantages that RNG throws their way and just flip them and make something out of it. So I'm really excited. We're about to enter our 3rd game, and we're going to start really seeing if we're going to get any really big break points coming out, and we start getting any really strong leaders coming through here. I'm really excited about this whole series so far, D-Man.
So, round 3 is upon us. We're not going to hold you up. I don't want to hold anyone else up. Let's keep these games going. We have a lot more matches to go. Don't forget, North America will follow the conclusion of these. But it is 5 rounds, not 3. So this 3rd round is just the middle ground. It has been epic so far. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.